And we begin in what's been happening in Parliament. The Democratic Alliance's motion to establish an ad hoc committee to probe the burglary and theft of foreign currency at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala Phala farm was defeated in the National Assembly. The motion received 135 votes for and 204 votes against it, with no abstentions. The party submitted the motion following revelations by SARS that the US dollars stolen from the president's farm were not declared upon entry into the country. Earlier, National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula survived the no-confidence motion against her. The motion was tabled by EFF leader Julius Malema. It was defeated with 234 votes against 42 in favour. 73 MPs abstained from the vote. Sysman Motloung is a political analyst and he joins us for a bit more on what's happened in Parliament today. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. I guess when it comes to the actual vote itself, nothing unexpected happened in Parliament today.
Hi, Peter. That's true. You do understand that the ANC has that majority in Parliament, and when here their delegate in the Speaker of the National Assembly was under attack by opposition, they were likely to pull ranks around her and to defend her. This is typically what the ANC does. So we've seen that in how also the DA responded to this. They understood that it was already given. There wasn't much they can do.
So what does that mean about the position of the Speaker? I mean, it's supposed to be a Speaker of the entire House, but quite clearly it is very political. And does that mean that the Speaker, sometimes perhaps if it's a 50-50 decision, we know which way she's going to go?
Yeah, this is a very strategic position. You would also understand during Baleka Mbete's tenure as Speaker, you could see at times how frustrated she was and at pains she went to defend Mr. Zuma. And here, we also see Nqakula during the SONA presentation, how she was also, in a way, already predetermined that she will not allow any disruptions. And this was in her tone, in how she approached the sittings. Therefore, it is understandable that a political party that has a majority in Parliament would not give that position over to an opposition. They would give it to their trusted people because they will also expect when it comes to that level, when it's 50-50, they would, in a way, go according to the interests of a political party that deployed them.
So what does that mean for the running of the National Assembly? Because a Speaker is supposed to be fair and judge no matter who in the House is saying or speaking, is supposed to judge fairly. But one gets a suggestion then that because it's so heavily politically motivated, the position, that the majority party is always going to get the favor of the Speaker. Is that right? Is that how it works?
Ideally, you are referring to that, we say what things ought to be, that the Speaker should be fair and ensure that every voice is given an audience and a chance to express themselves. And whenever they would make a decision, it should be in the interest of advancing a proper running of that House. But here, we cannot run away from that fact that any Speaker who has been deployed, especially by the ANC, they're always cognizant that I've been deployed here and I shouldn't mess up unless I will be called in, reprimanded, or at worst being recalled in a way. Therefore, I think because of maturity, the speakers are not totally unbiased, unreasonable. They would try as much as possible to ensure an orderly running of the House, but at the back of their mind, they're still recalling that they have been deployed. Therefore, that is something we really cannot get away from. At best, we can say, even though they are bringing a political allegiance, they have not really led to a disorderly or a very disruptive house, which is very partisan. They have tried to run things as fairly as possible under the circumstances.
All right. I suppose even though there's pressure to be partisan, as long as she rules within the rules, then she gets away with some of the decisions, I guess. What is your take on her job so far as the Speaker?
Yeah, I think Mengakwila, for me, she reminds me of Balekambet. When you see Thandi Modise, you can see Thandi Modise, even though she was partisan, but she was really liberal. And she would tolerate a lot of misdemeanor from the political parties. But Ngakula is really impatient. She's even worse than Membete, in my view. She's very impatient. She's really obvious that she has some mandate that she's always remembering that I have to pursue this. And for me, it goes back to that debate that has been raised in Parliament that the Speaker should be somebody who is totally apolitical, like taking a retired judge. And that person will be somebody who has a good grasp of the law and also with a fair interest of advancing a constitutional democracy. I think that is where we should be going as South Africa.
Also discussed in Parliament was the Phala Phala saga, and I suppose also the ANC has the majority, but things have changed quite a bit since the last time they debated it. I mean, the President has gotten favourable decisions from the Public Protector and SARS. Does that change the game?
I think this strengthens the argument of the ANC in Parliament. And because of realizing this, that they will not win in a way against the ANC majority. This is why you see the EFF going outside Parliament in this national shutdown attempt or protest that they had. They attempted to say, we recall you, Cyril Ramaphosa, as president. But this was really a political ploy, because they are aware that even if they could bring a vote of no confidence in Parliament, it will not stand. That's why now you hear Mr. Malema really playing around the rhetoric that you, Cyril, you said everything will be okay, people should go to work, and they did not go to work. And in them not going to work was a sign of no confidence in your word as a president. Rather, they listened to me. They did not go to it. Therefore, it says, I'm in control, I'm in charge. I think this is now political theatrics by the EFF, knowing very well that any attempt by them in court, in the Parliament, will not succeed. Therefore, this strengthens the ANC, and it will not, in my view, therefore allow opposition to push through these further investigations into Cyril Ramaphosa. It is a very good plus for the president that he got a positive reply from the Public Protector and the South African Revenue Services.
Would political parties dare question the integrity of the Public Protector at this stage? They just have to accept her report, I guess.
I think anyone who wants to question it, they have to really identify material defects and serious material defects that they can take this report for an appeal. Other than that, they have to submit to this, because our institutional architecture for accountability in South Africa puts the Public Protector at a very core or a very important position of holding the executive into account. Therefore, the Public Protector putting out a report that is so positive for the president really weakens further the opposition voices around Phala Phala. They really now to make aspersions, say, you are scared of Cyril and all that. But that is all they can do if they will not take this to court for appeal.
Do you think this is the end of the matter, or has it still got a long way to go?
For me, it seems very much that Mr. Ramaphosa is having an upper hand, and this could be a tide that is waning. Unless there is another leak, from those who started this, and they bring something that is stronger. So far, they really have not done much about it. That's why you see an attempt for them in Parliament to say, let us establish an ad hoc committee that will investigate further into this matter, hoping that something will come through or somebody will bring an evidence on which they can stand. For me, I think it seems like that. The president is having a really good day in relation to this. He is really surviving this storm, and it should strengthen him further. It shows that he is that person who is enjoying the power and the favor. The benefits of being in power are really coming forth for him.
All right, perhaps as a final question, and it was raised in Parliament, the State Capture Commission, Judge Zondo spoke about Parliament's lack of oversight. If everything is party political, can Parliament ever really do its job of oversight, particularly when it comes to their leader?
This is the weakness of African parliaments now, generally looking at the picture, that any parliament that is beholden to a political favor, a political party control, and those kind of mandates is a very weak parliament where parliamentarians don't have to speak according to their conscience. They are very restricted because once they speak too much, once they deviate a lot, they will be easily recalled. They have no protection. They cannot go to court and appeal to say, I'm being removed unfairly. This is a prerogative of a political party, if we say, to really deploy and redeploy. Therefore, it makes a parliament that is very weak. It is something, as South Africans, we have to think around in our voter choices. To what extent we really diversify our votes to ensure that there is a good mix of political parties in terms of numbers as well, to ensure that not one political party that is easily immoral, that is easily corrupted, that can have a majority. This is what Zondo Commission said in the report, that the South African Parliament failed to hold Mr. Zuma accountable. And if that trend is continuing as we see it now, we don't see a very positive prospect in future that it will improve on that regard. That is because it is being restricted by this political heavy influence.
Sysman Motloung, we always appreciate your thoughts and insights. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, that's one of our regular political commentators. He himself, a lecturer in politics and international relations, Sysman Motloung, talking about the goings-on in Parliament earlier today.